Welcome everyone. This is kind of a little bit weird. The last time that I was in a Microsoft office in Vancouver was back in, it was probably 2020, right at the very beginning of 2020. Obviously the world changed at that point in time. We moved everything online, and if you don't know me, my name is Ken Pulse and I run the Vancouver Power BI and Modern Excel user group. And I know for the people in the room, that's not necessarily what you signed up for. You signed up for Scott's user group, which is under the name.
So that's a good question.
You don't know what your new user group is called.
Data platform, data professionals.
So Scott still has yet to be named and branded user group is a new fledgling one that's starting up, and he asked, hey, he said a couple things. He said, number one, I'd love to introduce it to a lot of new members, and I'm sure some of you have come because you've known Scott in the past. For those of you online, Scott thought, you know what would also be awesome is, wouldn't it be cool if we actually had a way to get together in person for people who are part of the Vancouver Power BI and Modern Excel user group? So what if I were to host the live portion of that in Vancouver every time you're hosting the online version? So what we're going to be trying over the next few months here is on typically the third Thursday of every month when we're doing our Power BI stream for what we're doing, Scott's going to host a remote party live here where you guys can actually come and talk and interact with each other and meet face to face. The presentation will still be led by myself and Joseph, primarily online, and whoever our presenter is on the day. So we do the recordings of this stuff. I'll talk about that in just a second. So before we dive into this, I just want us to call out, as we normally do, a big thanks to the sponsors to make this happen. The primary sponsor of this event is skillwave.training. This is my training company where we actually teach people how to be awesome with Excel and Power BI. I particularly focus a lot on Power Query and Power Pivot and dimensional modeling and DAX, those kind of things. But we actually try to teach people how to use the tools properly so that they can then pick the right tool for the right job, because not every job is a Power BI job and not every job is an Excel job. So if you're interested in some great training options, go and check that out. Excel Guru is the parent company of Skillwave and also the creator and distributor of a software product called Monkey Tools. If you haven't heard of Monkey Tools, this is an Excel add-in that helps you actually build a lot of these business intelligence models faster. And it is the only tool on the market that can actually import a Power BI model back into Excel so that you can actually do your Excel jobs should you need to do so. Our next meetups we have coming up in a couple of weeks, I'm going to be welcoming Sumit Bansal is going to be joining us to talk about advanced data cleaning with the new regex functions in Excel, or regex, depending on how you pronounce it. That just feels dirty to me, but regex is my way of going. So if you're interested in that, you can sign up. The meetups are open for that now, or the registration's open for that now at our meetup page. And then a month from now, this is actually really cool because one of the other things that's happening right here is that our next meetup is the first meetup of the 10th year of VanPug, which is crazy. I can't believe we started this 10 years ago. Joseph, who you'll all meet shortly here, is going to be doing our What's New and has been for years. And he's going to be presenting. We're going to give him the full session, so he's not necessarily going to talk about what's new, although I don't know, Joseph, you might have some what's new in there, possibly, but he's going to be doing his Power BI mixtape volume 2 for our next meetup as well. So those are both open for registration now, so watch out for those. Our next meetup, I believe, will be at 9 a.m. Pacific, so you'll have to get here earlier, Scott.
Okay.
So just so you know, there you go. All right. Just a quick note on Monkey Tools. What's new in Monkey Tools? We've actually released some new current workbook features. This is one of the latest big things we did. Excel does not have a very good ability. Well, it does. It has an ability to get to items in the current workbook, but unfortunately, it is very, very limited. So we wrote a better function for this. It's now available in Monkey Tools. You can inject the function for free if you want our monkey that actually helps you put it in place. That is available under a pro license. I saw the thumbs up there. Thank you for that. Some of the benefits of this thing, it effectively adds a new get data from this workbook option to Excel, which I don't know why that button doesn't exist in the user interface. It's only been in the product since 2016, but 10 years later, I finally got around to it because Microsoft didn't. This basically replicates columns consistent with the external Excel.workbook as well. So this is something that Microsoft doesn't do, that we do. I have also added keyboard accessibility shortcuts for all the menus in Monkey Tools. Well overdue, but this actually allows it so that if people are using tools like OA Robot, you can actually now script Monkey Tools commands as well, which is pretty cool. And of course, there's always bug fixes and everything else that was going on. And yes, Joseph, there always is a better way, especially when we get Monkey Tools involved. Thanks. All right. Just a quick note on SkillWave right now. We have a massive sale going on as well. If you're interested in taking a look at some amazing courses, all of our on-demand video courses are 50% off through to the end of August. Our coached courses, where you actually get access to Ask Ken Anything sessions twice a month, are on for 30% off as well. You can check it out at the link below. This slide deck, by the way, is posted on our Meetup site as well. Speaking of those courses, I run an Excel Fundamentals Academy. This is great training for people who are just trying to fill in knowledge gaps, make sure we understand pivot tables and Power Query. Either we do individuals, we also do on-site team training. If you're interested, get in contact with us. This is a pretty awesome program. I actually just did an in-person boot camp last week with the team, spent 3 days with them working through this, and completely changed the way I looked at Excel, which is awesome. If you're already past the basics, we also have our Self-Service Business Intelligence Academy. This is where we teach you how to use Power Query. We teach you about dimensional modeling, the proper terminology, and how to actually apply it to clean up your garbage data and get it into a good data model. Then we teach you DAX. Then we teach you how you use the same tools in Power BI. We also have strategies for deployment and test and release, and we show you row level security, all the good things around Power BI as well. This is a really intense program. It's quite big. It also comes with access for coaching. Twice a month, I actually get online for a Teams call with my students. They throw me questions that they have, weird things that they want to do in their work, and I help them build it. So it's kind of got built-in consulting going with it as well. Again, it's 30% off right now, so you can definitely go and check that out. This meetup, along with all of our meetups, barring any crazy technical problems today, will be posted on our SkillWave YouTube channel once it is done. At that point, I post on the VanPug meetup or Vancouver Power BI user group meetup page so that everybody gets notified, and you can then go and watch it back later on. The last thing that I want to say is if you want to be up here and talking and sharing the cool things you do, we love new speakers, always interested in that. We got a quick little survey here, just a few questions, get in contact with us, and we'd love to get you on our stage. And on that note, that's it from me. Joseph, are you ready to take over the screen here and show us what's new in Power BI? Cool.
Awesome. There we go. I think did I steal that correctly?
It looks like awesome. You sold it perfect.
All right. Thank you, Ken. And welcome, everybody, I guess, virtually and in person to the July Vancouver Power BI and Modern Excel meetup group. As Ken said, if it's your first time here, my name's Joseph, and I usually do the What's New in Power BI segment at the top of the presentation. And next month, I am the feature presentation going over some sort of cool, I guess, a mixed bag of things in Power BI that used to be really painful to do way back in the day. We've had 10 years of this meetup group that in the last few years is now super easy. It's just functionality built into the tool. So I'm having some fun reminiscing about the good old days of Power BI and as I'm building out some of those demos. So I'm excited for that next month. But for today, what's new in Power BI for July? As always, when I do what's new in Power BI, I start with the official Microsoft Power BI updates blog. There's a feature summary every month for what is new in Power BI. There's a nice little table of contents up here at the top. And as we alluded to before, under events and announcements, Power BI is turning 10. Woohoo! So not only is our user group turning 10, but Power BI is turning 10. The next section under context is general. I'm going to call out one of those things when I go over some of my favorite new features of what's new in Power BI. Then a little bit further down, we see reporting, which is generally where I like to pick out sort of my favorite new features, just as I feel like they're most applicable to the biggest audience, really. And then we have modeling and data connectivity and mobile further down. But to start, I think the first what's new that I want to call out is that Power BI Report Server will consolidate on-premise reporting services starting from SQL Server 2025. I feel like this is very good timing, having Scott back in the room and having some SQL folks back in the room. SSRS and Power BI Report Server are now consolidating into one. I know I used to live in the Power BI Report Server world probably like I guess a little bit more than 5 years ago now. So if you want to know more information about that, there is a dedicated report services consolidation FAQ where it goes over all the general questions, starting even just what is SSRS, what is Power BI Report Server, and some I guess, different options and different FAQs for that. I'm not going to spend time going through each of them today, but if this is a scenario that applies to you or your company, I would definitely check this out and have this on your roadmap. The second, what's new in Power BI that caught my eye for this month is a new preview feature. So that means it's not generally available for everyone yet. It is still in preview, so it is it is sort of in beta testing, I guess. Things can change and disappear on you very quickly. And it is organizational themes in the Power BI report service. So if I go to my workspace in Power BI here, that's not my workspace, that is Teams. If I go to my workspace here, now what's available to me is organization themes that I can set up for all of the published reports within my workspace. So to get to this, under settings, I can go to the admin portal. And on the left-hand side here in the menu, about halfway down, we see organizational themes are now available again in preview. When I go to add a theme, we choose a JSON file, which is how Power BI themes are stored. We can give it a name and a description. And then when a user goes into published Power BI reports, they're able to pick from a pre-approved Power BI theme. So you can have your Power BI developers or power users building Power BI reports. They can do whatever funky things they want locally, but once they're published, they are able to take advantage of a centralized suite of report themes. So I think this is really cool. This is a really cool new feature. It can really help set that sort of standardized design and look and feel of organizational reports using these themes. So I haven't had a chance to dive too much into this yet, so there's not really any gotchas to present on, but it's something I'm interested in looking at a little bit more, because this can definitely help time, or it's definitely save time decentralizing everything and being able to do it in the service on publish as opposed to part of the development process. The next what's new in Power BI, which I sort of previewed a little bit, is that there's a new Power BI app navigation menu when you're using Power BI in Teams. So this is Teams, and I wasn't sure if the whole presentation and the sharing was going to blow up on a Teams call, sharing a Teams screen, having in-person and remote. Teams is always fun to deal with. But in the Power BI app within Teams now, when I pop this open, we see it's the same workspace I was looking at on the Power BI service. We have this new navigation menu over to the left-hand side that I can pop out. This takes it just a little bit more in line with what was in the Power BI service, is a lot more simple menu using Power BI embedded in Teams before. But now we can sort of see everything that we see in the service, really. We see like our recent and favorite items, stuff that's shared with me, stuff that's shared in Teams, all of the other Power BI content we're used to, like our scorecard metrics, our apps, and we can even create content directly in Teams now as well, navigate our workspace, all the usual stuff. So this was a nice little update. Just really brings the experience of using Power BI in Teams along with using Power BI in your browser. And I think with that, I'm ready to jump back into the Power BI blog for 1 second. And we're ready to move on to some more hands-on, actually getting into Power BI to see stuff. In this reporting section, there are a few new cool things that came out this month. Influencing sort for visual calculations, which is in preview, which if you do use visual calculations, this is nice. You're able to sort things in there. But the two that I'm going to jump into Power BI Desktop to take a look at are the general availability of field parameters and improvements to pie and donut charts, which was only fitting for the 10th anniversary, because it feels like it's probably been at least 10 years since we talked about pie and donut charts in the Power BI meetup group. So why don't we jump into Power BI and we can take a look. So to start with field parameters being generally available, I actually have one of the demos in next month's feature presentation for Power BI is going to include field parameters. This has been in preview since 2022, I believe. So we're coming, I think it's over 3 years field parameters have been in preview. And what that allows us to do is is have user-selected dynamic elements within our Power BI report visuals. So right now I have client age on the x-axis of this bar chart, which I'll just blow up to make a little bit bigger. We have a measure on our y-axis here. And if I wanted to have a different element on our axis instead, like if I wanted to take like a client segment, for example, I could update our entire column chart like this, and we have a different element on our axis. But as we were developing reports previously, we'd either have to create multiple visuals with different elements on the axis, or we could do some fun things with like bookmarks, or we could hide or show certain visuals linked to a button. But a field parameter allows us to do this a lot more easily. From the modeling tab up on the ribbon, under new parameter, I can select field parameter here, and then I can select the fields that I want to include in this parameter. So I think I said client segment and client age. I'm just going to leave these two in my field parameter for now, and I'm going to leave the add slicer to this page toggled on. And once I create that, we see that we have a parameter slicer created for us. We have a new parameter here in our data pane. And if I replace client segment on our x-axis with this parameter value, now what that allows us to do is if I hit client segment, that's what appears on the x-axis. If I hit client age, our visual now updates our client age to appear on the x-axis. And we can add additional fields, and we can add additional fields. So there's more than two options. We can have really as many options as you like. We can do the same thing with measures. So instead of total balance, if we wanted to have total cost, we could have a different slicer that toggles that. And it really just gives us full control and a really quick way, as we saw going through this, to add those dynamic user selected elements to our report visuals in Power BI. So this was a quick little demo. It has been in the tool for the last at least 3 years. Now it's out of preview, generally available. And that's great news because it's in tons of reports that were published over the last 3 years. So that's field parameters. If you want to know more information, there's tons of blog posts as well from the What's New in Power BI, some of the updates that have gone into that over the last 3 years, as well as just usual Microsoft feature summaries. So that takes us to my last one, pie and donut charts, and some updated formatting options for them. So let's make this a little bit bigger. We have our nice donut chart here. We just have our account balance and the percent breakdown by account product. And now we have some additional formatting options over here on the right-hand side on the format pane. We're able to pick individual slices of our pie or donut chart to format. So if I pick this great big pink slice here, this lone slice, I'm able to discreetly select the color. So I can change that to blue or purple. I can increase the transparency so that it's a little bit more see-through. I can toggle off and on like borders, make them thicker. And what this allows us to do is really highlight just specific parts of our donut chart. I could take all the other elements and make that into sort of like a dark gray color if I wanted. That was weird. Here we go, a gray color if I just wanted to make this one slice stand out. So it just really lets us select certain aspects of our pie or donut chart, make them stand out, and just gives us more control over that formatting, really, as opposed to relying on what was really just a basic set of formatting options before. I think with that, that was, how many was that? Five of my favorite features of what's new in Power BI for July. We looked at Power BI in Teams, we looked at report server consolidation, we looked at organizational themes, and then we finished off with field parameters and formatting pie and donut charts in Power BI. So thank you everyone for your time. Thank you, Ken and Scott, for having me. And I am excited to pass it back to Scott, pass it back to you all in the room for the feature presentation. So thanks again for this month, and I will see you all next month.
Thanks, Joseph. You don't often get 5 new favorite features in one update, do you? It's I seem to remember previous months where it's like, yeah, there's not really much for Power BI. It's all Fabric this month. So fantastic.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks very much. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you.
And yeah, we're looking forward to seeing you next month on the show here. So in the meantime, we're going to turn it over to our good friend Scott. And Scott's got some stuff to talk about related to Git, I hear. There you go.
Right. Thank you, Ken. Can everyone hear me in the room?
Yes.
And perhaps someone can give us an indication if you're hearing us online, okay? Because I just cut over to my mic. Oh, good. Some thumbs up. Excellent. We're also struggling. We're in Vancouver. And for those people that aren't from Vancouver remotely, joining us remotely, it's not unusual, but it's an event when you have sun. So we've got actually sun filling this room. It's very unusual. And I just want to, is the contrast okay? Should I close some of the drapes, do you think? The thumbs up for it's good? Okay, thumbs up is good. I won't close the drapes. And we did cut off the chat on the side, so the size of the stuff will probably be okay. I'll just call out if you think I should zoom it on. But I think the size of the slide should be good. I'm just going to actually go back to, I'm going to end the show us a moment here. I'm going to go back to the slide here. Please forgive me. The last time I did this presentation, oops, what are we seeing here? Okay. The last time I did this presentation was in the comfort of my home office with two 32-inch monitors, with a nice full keyboard and mouse, not having to worry about a camera. And so this is a little different. I've got some monitors beside me. I guess you can see in the camera in the corner of the room. You can see. So it's a little different. So please forgive me if I stumble a few times. There will be delays at times. But this session today. So this session came to be because, well, if you've been using Power BI for a while, you've experienced this. You've probably started off with a report. You made it really good. You talk to the business user. They love it. You publish it. And then you get pulled off onto a different data project. You're doing some data engineering, you're doing some business analysis, you might be doing other Power BI reports, and your report perhaps is picked up and someone just needs to add one little thing to it. It's fine, they go in and they make the change and publish it. And then, a few weeks later, someone goes in and decides they're going to create a few pages, they move some things around, they delete some things. And then, 3 or 4 months later, you come back to it and you're like, this isn't the report that I left, and you're being asked to fix some things, and it's like where did it go? Like, you can't see easily what's happened. And so the challenge was you can't use those version control things with Power BI because it's just this pbix file. It's a blob. How do you deal with this? Well, today that's what we're talking about, how to manage being just a report and the model and being able to see what changes have happened over time. That's my primary purpose. We're going to be covering some other things. We're going to be talking about Git, of course, as this is going to be the piece of the solution that's going to allow you to see change over time. So that's the premise of this presentation. I'm Scott Stauffer. There's my LinkedIn. Oh, there's a little bit of a delay. Okay, that's.
I'm pronouncing your name wrong for decades.
Stauffer. It's all good. It's all good either way. I'm not upset about that. So you can find me on LinkedIn, Scott Stauffer, and being that this is on Git and GitHub, my GitHub is Scott Stauffer as well with no space. And yes, I know it's an old headshot, but so we'll just move on. This is
right around SQL Teach, right?
What's that? Sorry?
Right around SQL Teach.
Yeah, actually, it's probably like 2005, I think. Maybe it's 2008. I'm not sure. And I did advance the slide, and we're seeing a little bit of delay in the room here. There we go. Excellent. Okay, this is my other passion. I volunteer for the BC Alberta Guide Dogs. I like to talk about guide dogs. I like to bring guide dogs into my presentations. This is Annie. I raised her from 7.5 weeks. She's now, she's got to be turning 4, I guess. And she is a PTSD dog for someone on Vancouver Island who served in the US Airborne during Vietnam. And so, yeah, she helps him wake up at night when he has night terrors. So This is her in training, and had the opportunity to board some dogs as well for the BC Alberta Guide Dogs. And there's my updated headshot, of course, too. But I'll wear the hat to cover my bald spot. But have also been involved in fundraisers at Sequel Bits. I brought the guide dogs for the UK, the Sequel Bits, and we raised £4,000. So I'm happy about that. But also, I work for this company called Improving, that probably no one in this room, other than the 2 other Improving employees, have ever heard of. Because, gosh, when you type in Improving, you can only imagine, improving data analytics. Oh, well, this is how you improve data analytics. You'll never find us. So, don't get me started, but we probably need to work on some of that. We'll get back to you on that. I've advanced the slide, and once again, it's taking a moment. But hey, we've got some clients. We've got 19 offices. We've got 2,000 of us. And actually, no, I'm sorry, I didn't advance the slide. So I'll advance the slide. What is wrong here? There we go. All right, I advanced the slide. And we have about 2,000 of us worldwide, and 19 offices. We newest office is in Pune, India, and we have 5 Canadian locations. We have Santiago and Buenos Aires down in South America that joined us recently. And here's a nice timeline if you're curious. I'm going to try to scoot through these a little quicker, but you can see here we have Calgary joined in 2013, and then Toronto, Winnipeg. Oh, there's Ottawa and Vancouver. I'm part of the Winnipeg team. Strangely enough, I've known Mike, my boss, for over 15 years. Interestingly enough, I've known Jeff about the same amount of time. Why I didn't go and join Jeff, would have made a lot more sense, but it's the way it happened. Still someone I get some assistance from once in a while, so it's great. Apparently, we're a great place to work across the board, Canada, USA, and Mexico. We've got a Guadalajara office as well. These are some of the things that we do. We do data analytics, surprise, surprise. But we also do Agile. We do Agile training. We do application modernization. What's that? I mean, some of these terms probably could use some improving. Anyways, we are a Microsoft solution partner as well. We do Databricks, Confluence, SAP, and Snowflake. Our Toronto team is the SAP component of that, headed up by Jeff in the audience here. Some of the verticals that we service, and of course, Microsoft in the top left there, just financial services. Many names you'll probably recognize. And anyways, that was a little bit of the marketing, and we thank Improving for. I thank them for giving me the opportunity to come here and speak to you today and give back to the community. But hey, where are we here? Yeah, where are we? There we go. I did this session about 2 years ago, and 2 years ago I was told by my boss, "Hey, can we make it somehow that we can share?" We've got a team of 9 Power BI developers. They work on reports. Sometimes, someone starts it, the other person adds a little bit more. It gets a little hairy to manage that. They had enterprise development solutions. They used Azure DevOps for data engineering, but they really didn't have that solution. But there were talks out on the street that, hey, you can do this. And there was a solution put out by someone named Matthias Tirbach out of London. And I connected with Matthias and implemented his solution called PBI Tools at the time. And it did what we're going to talk about today with what pbip file format did. And that is to make it so that you can do diffs of the different versions of your Power BI reports. And we'll get into the nuts and bolts of that as we go. But most of these slides are indeed from that deck. The demos are going to be slightly different. So just as, I don't know whether it was Martha Stewart that popularized this hook of starting the show out with bringing the finished product out and putting it on the counter, and you can almost smell the smell of the chocolate banana bread as they put it out onto the. Oh, are we okay? Yeah, as they put it out onto the counter, and then through the show you get to see how they make the banana breads. You see the
results. So it started with self-belief. When the transformational idea hit, it was all belief because you had.
Okay, I'm not sure what happened there. All right. So as I was saying, let's go and show you how to make that banana bread, that wonderful smelling banana bread. And here's the banana bread. And what you're looking at okay, in a moment you'll see the banana bread. There we go. So the hot steaming banana bread, I know you can smell it and taste it. I'm getting ready for lunch already. You can see at the top left, I am in GitHub in this interface. And on the left, you see a Power BI solution. You see a service dogs.pbix. And along the left, you also see little pieces of Power BI assets. And how do you see these things? Well, I'll get to that in a moment. But in the center of the screen, you see elements of your code changing. On the left is the old, on the right is the new. So we're looking at two different versions of the report. The red highlights the thing that's been deleted or changed, and the green is either the addition or the new change that takes place. You can also see this blue mark up here. I should probably be on the top left. You see the blue mark where it says servicedogs.pbix. And in the center, you can see the blue outline around the code region. And what does it say? It says binary file not shown. In other words, with this file, it can't do anything with. It's just that pbix black box. Git does not know how to open that pbix and have a look at it. So we either need a tool like PBI tools that goes and takes the contents and extends it into the different assets, or pbip. So this shows the Power PBI tools version of those files. What you'll see today in my demonstration is actually going to be slightly different. It's going to be the assets that are created by the pbip file format. So, but this is that opportunity to scroll through and say, oh, well, the version here for this on the config.json is version 5.47, and now this is version 5.48. Well, that's good. You can see it's gone from one to another. You can see that linguistic schema version 0 has changed to version 2. So something's changed in there as well. So you'll see as well, like, hey, this changed in the model, this changed in the report as we add them. So this will be the interface that you'll see. And if we go to the next slide, this is that same interface, but instead of having it vertical, we have a horizontal, so that the old line is on the top, the new line is on the bottom in green. So just a different view, different views for different purposes, different strokes for different folks, as they say. But that's what we're going to be. That's what we're hoping to make today. And this is our agenda. What and why of version control? We'll need to give some concepts of Git so that you understand what we're doing and how we're accomplishing it. And then we'll talk about the PBI format and what it is and how it helps us. And of course, more importantly, the demo and getting to that place where we can see the differences. And of course, we'll recap Q&As. What and why of version control? So what is it? Well, simply, version control is a way to manage your code. And change control, it really is that enforcement of process and governance. And so if we, for instance, create a bug fix, we have an approval process where someone else in your team can review that code, and then someone who says, okay, yeah, that's good, we can push that on to production. So that's what that change control piece offers. Version control is also the capability of driving your DevOps and your CI/CD processes. Without version control, what are you going to be delivering? So it helps in continuous integration, continuous deployment. It also enables team enablement and collaboration. So just like the example I mentioned, you'll want multiple people to be working on the code together, and you want to learn the dance so that you don't step on one another's feet. Also, tracking code changes. Version control allows you to undo and redo almost indefinitely. So yes, it can get a little tricky over time, but that's what the tools are to help guide you through and make it so that you don't step on one another's feet. But most importantly for me, version control is that capability of seeing what's changed in your version since the last time you looked at it. Of course, that's the focus on today's presentation. So the history of version control is important too, because hey, we've all been there. It started off in Excel when we create something for data analysis for our boss, perhaps, and it's version 1, and then we, I've done some pretty crazy stuff. I'm going to cut this over to version 2 at this point, and then you put it away. You wake up in the morning, and the next day, and you go, oh, that's crap. I have to rewrite the whole darn thing. And so that's going to be the final, though. You're not going to change it anymore until you show a colleague and they point out something obvious. And so you got final. You know where this is going. You've all done this. We've all done this. You've experienced this. So that's sort of the first step. And then the second step is one of the offerings was, hey, why don't we just save it to a SharePoint document library or OneDrive? And OneDrive is a SharePoint document library. In reality, that's what it is at the base. But what that allows you to do is to have versioning. So when you drop it into OneDrive or SharePoint, you can set it up so that it'll keep versions. So every time you make a save, you make some changes, you save, it'll create another version behind the scenes for you. You don't have to manage that. What you can also do with that is you can say, hey, I want to check in and check out. So when you check out a version, you can do your work with it. Nobody else can touch it. They get a message saying, hey, someone's working on this, don't touch it. And then when you check it back in, it gives you the opportunity, well, I think it enforces you, I'm not sure, to put a comment to say, oh yeah, made a change here. And then so that comment is stored with that check-in. So that's not too bad, but that doesn't allow what? Compare, exactly, because it's still just that pbix, that binary object that you can't really do the compares with. I mean, it'd be great though if you rename a pbix file to .zip, you can actually see the structure and the files that are in it, but they're still not very diffable. They're the way that they've structured those files, you can't serialize them, i.e. you can't pull them out into multiple lines so that you can compare. So they had to do some work. So, that's where we're at today. And then, hey, then there's also the blob for pbix, and then we had the pbip. And so with the pbip, you have that capability of looking at the models and the measures to look at the M code, and have diffs of the M code and diffs of the report pages. The last two weren't offered up until I'm not actually sure the date when they added the different capabilities. But the feature went into preview about 2 years ago, and I thought actually that this month was going to be a month where they actually announced that it's no longer in preview and pbip will be the default format. But that hasn't happened yet. I suspect it'll happen in August, but I don't have any insider information. But so that's what we're gonna talk. That's the destination for today, is looking at that final one. Here's a good example of version the first two bullet points. The using of a V1, V2 manually, but then mixing it up with storing it in a OneDrive or a SharePoint document library, as this is. You can see when we right-click the Node Excel Twitter search V1.4, and I can move the mouse over here. That's probably make it a little easier. We can see that when we right-click it, we can look at OneDrive and we can see the version history. And so what that gives us is when we click on that, we can see that Harold, and this will come up in just a second. Oh yeah, it is today, is that?
Look, we're on dialogue.
It's crazy. So you can see the version history, and you can see at the bottom of the list that Harald made a change at 2:55 a.m. Gosh, he's a hard worker. Well, actually, it's Pacific time, but he lives in Germany, so it's probably a reasonable time for him to do his work. And he made some changes, you know, at 2:56, and then he made another change at 3:49. If at any point Harald's like, oh, damn, I did something and I can't figure out how to get it back the way it was, you know, I just can't figure it out, he could, you know, close it up, revert to an older version, and he's back where he needs to be. And probably you can see as the days go by, he makes different versions on the left in the actual files, so that he's got a more substantive sort of, this is my main cutoff point on the left, v1.5 to v1.6, just making a cut, making an intentional cut. So it's sort of a hybrid approach. This works, but again, it doesn't provide what it really needs to provide. And you can see too, it also offers that checkout capability if you right click to check it in and check it out. All right, so let's get into it. So Git is the #1 VCS used today. And I have no claim, I have no way of substantiating this claim, but it's what I hear, and no one has any pushbacks. And to the point too, this is a Microsoft-centric data user group, both the in-person and the remote. So the writing's on the wall. Microsoft bought GitHub back in 2018 for $7.5 billion. So you can understand why they might have an incentive to make this the center of the version control world for the Microsoft platform. So buying them, also looking at Visual Studio, Git is the default. You look at Azure DevOps, Git and GitHub are the options that are highlighted. So let's move forward. Git is important in our world, but we need to have some basics before we really jump into it. And so let's talk about some of the concepts. So Git is distributed, i.e. You have a origin where it's your repo is your place where you store things. Your origin is that one version of the truth. And so when you do a git init and you create a repository, that repository is generally going to be local, and then you publish a remote Git repo, and it becomes your origin that other people can connect to and pull down their own local version. It's open source. It was developed in 2005 by the person that created Linux. So that's interesting. It's a fairly new player in the block in the big picture of things. So you've got a origin up in the cloud, perhaps, and maybe in GitHub or Git, and your development team, they do a Git clone and pull it down to their local desktop, and that becomes their working tree. The changes they make for their local repo happens in that working tree, and then they make some changes, and they want to push that back up. First, they need to stage it in the staging area, and you use the git add command to do the staging. And then once you've made your changes and you're like, okay, this code will compile, it fixes this problem or delivers this solution. Now I want to commit it. So we do a git commit, and that commits it to your local repo. So great, but now you want to get it, and you want to git push to push it up to the origin so that your changes can be seen by your team members. This committing process creates actually a network graph. Each commit that you make references the previous commit. So you have tools that allow you to navigate this network graph and see what's happened over time. It becomes a little bit more complex, this network graph, when you start adding the concept of branches. So your Git repo is primarily going to have the main branch, which is your the solution that you're going to be delivering to your production environment. But then when you work on a feature in an enterprise, you'll generally create things not in main, but in a feature branch. So you'll create a branch, you'll give it a name, and then you do your committing and your changes. And then when you want to merge that back into the main branch, you have what they call a pull request, and that gets your team involved in saying, is this good code? Is this going to break anything that we have that's currently in our main branch? Because, hey, maybe there's one or two feature branches that are in flight, and you need to chat with the people that are also adding new capabilities. Maybe they've gone some in a different direction. So that branching really, that's where your enterprise involvement is. And so when you have that, you can have things called merge conflicts. So, that's where, the dance is involved. You don't want to step on your partner's toes. But so that's where some of the trickiness comes in. The tools certainly help prevent some of that. But it's about good process and communication that's going to solve those problems. So after you've pushed up to you've made the changes on your local repo, and you push up to your origin, to your main repo. After you've done that, great. But then what you also want to do is you want to do a pull. So you pull back down to your local repo, all the changes that your colleagues have made as well. So every once in a while, you want to just do a pull as well. Just make sure you've got the latest code. So that's some of the concepts of Git. This is the picture, and perhaps I should have started off with the picture. I don't know. But Richard Zhao from Australia provided this picture, and it really represents at the bottom. You can see you've got that remote repository where you've either created it, and then what you can do is you can do a clone to create that working directory and your local repository. You have your staging area, so as you make your changes, you add. And after you've added things to your staging areas, you can do your commits, and then you do your push. So I like this diagram. It helps to sort of bring that full circle to a visualization to help support those concepts. So all these slides will be available afterwards. If you need it earlier, you could nudge me, and I'm first name, last name at outlook.com if you need quick access to these. And, I'm not going to cover everything in Git in this 1 hour session. Here's something I saw and I thought, oh, this is a good one, 100 seconds of Git and getting started. It's pretty good. Maybe you can share this with your colleagues and your boss. Then there's also Kevin. He's a former Microsoft employee. He did a session on how he used Git for his website, his Kevin's Cookie Company website. It's a really good demo, a little humor involved in there. You can check that out. So we talked about Git commands, and of course those command lines, functions can all be done in a GUI as well. There's different versions. There's free versions. There's freemium versions. There's paid versions as well. But VS Code is a good place to start. VS Code has extensions. Git Lens is one of the most popular extensions for Git that's available. It also has a freemium model as well. So if you're doing stuff with development teams and you want to work collaboratively, that's probably a good solution to look at. SourceTree is an open source free standalone product. And then of course, GitHub Desktop is also a good product to use. So, and of course, GitHub as a software as a service platform, it's based on Git, of course, and owned by Microsoft and has freemium offerings. So if you're just creating stuff for yourself that you just want to share out there to the world, it's a great place to create a free account. If you work in a team and you're not using Azure DevOps, it's a great solution to use. In fact, Azure DevOps can sit on top of it, but it has a paid capability as well for those enterprise teams. So let's look at Git and GitHub. Okay, and I am going to end the session momentarily here. Okay, I'm going to try that again, end the session. Fantastic. And what do we have here? We have, just a second here. We have a few things open. We have a Git command line. And when you install Git, Git is, again, it's open source, it's free. You can download this. The link will be in the slides. I can unhide that slide when I generate it. We're going to start in the command line. You can see at the top in yellow is I'm in the C Git folder. This is a Linux shell, so it's things are a little different in Linux. You can see the forward slashes. There's no colon, but you can imagine C:\git if you were in Windows, and we'll see that in a few moments. You can see the user ID that I'm logged in as, and you have a $ prompt. So if we look and compare that to Windows Explorer, you can see that we can go up here to our cgit folder. And actually, let's do this here. Cgit. And you can see I've got some repositories here, multiple repositories. It's not important to the names right at the moment, but let's create a folder first here in our Git repository, or in our folder of repositories, if you will. Let's create a new folder, and we'll call this YVR. Why not? And so you can see YVR Git. So let's stay there for the moment, and let's pop over here. And we learned earlier that we can create repositories with the git init, but first we need to change into, so this is Linux, but it'll also accept those Windows DOS commands if you remember them. We can change directory to YVR. Now, if we couldn't remember, we can also hit the tab and it'll do completion for us. And now you can see we're in Git YVR, and we want to do a git, and we will go init. And so again, that's going to create a repository on this local machine, and initializing the empty Git repository to see, wow, wonderful, excellent. So now if we pop over to the Windows Explorer, we see that sure enough, I've got it showing system files. So this is a hidden file, right at the hidden folder, the cgit folder. So that's good. It's got some folders with Git files in it, but it also has some configuration capabilities in there as well. In the old version of this presentation, I created some Git hooks, and those Git hooks still persist on this machine, and I've configured it away so it's actually pushing to all my repositories. So there's a little bit of a challenge in this at this point to demonstrate one of the old demos that I was going to do. So that's okay. But we've done a git init. One of the other commands that we would want to use as well is get status. And so it tells us where we're at. So it says, okay, you're on the main branch. There's no commits yet and nothing to commit. We haven't staged anything. So which makes sense. That, we haven't done anything yet. So let's do something. Let's open Power BI. And that, of course, always takes 10 minutes now because you've got these funky little going back in time to the different logos of Power BI as they celebrate the 10th anniversary. Today is the 10th birthday. I don't know, do people know that there's a live stream happening by Guy in a Cube for the 10th birthday? Oh, you missed out. Here it is. Okay, blank report. So I'm actually just going to save this file right now. It's empty, but it has some metadata associated with it. So let's just do a file save as, and we're going to do it not to the test repo, but there we go. Browse these file devices. Look at that. They've already changed okay, so I'm just going to go C:\git / and this was YVR / and let's just call this, well, hey, puppies, because I love puppies. There we go. So this report, you can see, is called puppies, and I saved this as that pbix file. And let's just, at this point, we saved it. We need to close it. Let's just have a look at what Git sees. So if we, going back to the command line, we're going to type git status again. So, okay, on the main branch, no commits here. And hey, you've got this file that's been added. What do you want to do with it? We can do a git add. So let's do the git add. And then we hit the P and then just so that I make sure I get the file, I just hit tab. So git add puppies. So that's adding it to our staging area. So wonderful. Let's do another git status and let's see what it, yeah. Okay, if I could type.
It's not a push, it's the first time is a add.
Git add, that puts it into the, from the working directory into your staging area. And then after that, we do the git commit. So the git commit, if I just did a git commit like that, it would open another user interface for me to type a message. So I don't like that. So I'll just hit -M for message and quickly say, oops, created initial doc, pbix. All right, so hit enter. And this is wonderful, fatal ambiguous argument. And this is because my environment is slightly messed up because of things I've done in the past with those Git hooks in the back end. So there's a command to fix that, and I'll quickly pull that up and resolve this. You will not see this at home. I suspect you will not have an issue at all, but I created just a quick link to here, and it explains why this can happen sometimes, but hopefully you'll never see this. Control C. Let's just paste this in there. Allow empty, which isn't really the case. There we go. We did an initial commit. And now let's just do a git status again. Or actually, let's just do a git commit. On the main branch, nothing to commit, working tree clean. So if we do git status, excellent. Okay, so we've done that initial commit. It's now in our local repo, but we want to send it off. And we can do a get push. I could take git push here. But hey, let's demo quickly the capabilities of, use this mouse instead. So this is our GitHub desktop. And you can see here we can, we haven't actually defined the remote repository. So we can do that. And we can say add an existing repository from my local machine to push it up into the SAS. So let's choose the path of our local. Let's just choose it because so we are in Git and we are going to do YVR and we say select folder. It says, okay, great. Let's add that repository. Fantastic. Now, at this point, you can see in the bottom left-hand corner, it's a little small, but you can see I've got the opportunity to commit to main, add descriptions and stuff. But at this point, publish repository. So that's going to publish it from our local repo up to, and maybe I'll just put that in. There's a description.
As long as you've got the whole GitHub credentials set up, then it'll just push it right up for you.
Yeah. In fact, half of me was thinking, is it going to ask me to do my two-factor authentication? But luckily, I guess I did it yesterday, so it doesn't have to do it today. But, you know, now we've pushed and we pushed up. Now the next thing would be to fetch from origin or pull. So we pushed, now we're just going to pull. Everything looks good. And so I'm just going to minimize this and let's do one more thing. Nothing to commit, working tree clean. Okay, I'm just going to do another. Yep, okay, great. Let's minimize this for a moment. Let's go back to our report. And I think this is, yeah, this is the one I want. Strangely enough, I've got lots of puppies.pbix files there. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to make one change to this. And loading the model. Okay, there's not much of a model there. But okay. So let's just do one thing. Let's just add a photo. Because hey, that's enough for us to see. Let's go to, oops. I'm not sure what it's done here. It's upset with me. I've upset the demo gods, obviously. Oops. Try that one more time. Oh. Go to mutations. let's just see here. Not to grab anything too big at this point. There we go. Okay, so let's show me looking like a fool. So that's SQL bits with some dog ears on. Don't judge me. Okay, and for some reason, it's not letting me stretch this. Is it? Oh, okay, all right, maybe it's just me. So yes, wearing the dog ears, and we've got, I can't remember this guy's name, but he's a guide dog in training. So let's save this, top left, save, and let's close. And let's now do that dance again. Let's do a git status, make this big again. And then it says, oh, you know, we've got your branch is up to date with origin and main. That's good. Oh, but we've got some changes that are made locally. So what do we want to do? We want to do the git add. Git. Now we can do that in 2 steps, or we can do a quick step here, and we could do git commit -a for add, -m for message, and say added a photo to pbix. All right, so let's do that and hit the enter key. And it's taking a few moments. Why is it taking a few moments? Because you remember how I told you I used PBI tools in the past? It's using a git hook. It's calling pre-commit. It's calling PBI tools to explode the file in the old way. So it's providing that solution, that old-fashioned solution. And after it explodes it, it then does the commit. So it's a pre-commit hook that's kicked in. And gosh, I wish I could figure out how I need to remove that, because it seems to be like a virus. Just anyways. So we now have that. We've committed it. What do we need to do next?
Push.
Push, exactly. So let's do a git push. And if I could type git push. It wants me to sign in with the browser. You know what? Because of this, it's probably going to take a few more seconds. I'm going to cancel this. I'm going to go and do it in the app, because otherwise I'd have to sign in, and that would perhaps take a little too long. So let's just do a push. It shows me that I have one thing outstanding. Showing up? Oh, good, it's not. Okay, I'm just going to move that out of the way though. Go. So great. And that now it's prompting you for the, hey, you want to do a fetch now, don't you? You want to do a pull, just to make sure none of your colleagues haven't made a change recently. You want that back in your repo. Make sure there's also no merge conflicts or anything. So there you go. Now, if we go back to our command line, we can go, we can hit escape at this point, or Control C. There we go. Let's just do a git status. See where we're at here. Great. You're on the main branch. Branch is up to date with origin and origin and main. Nothing to commit. Nothing to see here. Working tree clean. All right. So we made a change. We pushed it up to the service. Now let's do something else. Let's go to this. Instead of using the app or the desktop app, let's view it in GitHub. It's in .com, right? Let's click on this. It's going to open our browser window, and it shows us, hey, we've had 3 commits on this repo. Where does it say 3 commits? I just saw it a few seconds ago. 3 commits in the center to left there, or center to right, 2 minutes ago. You got both files, but what it also has is a little link, and it might be hard to see. But here is your commit number, or your commit name, commit number. It's an alphanumeric code. So if we click on this, that's where you have to click to see this diff file. And again, this puppies.pbix alone, puppies pbix, binary file not shown. The only reason you see all this stuff down here is because I've got the PBI tools that kicked off when I did the commit. If I didn't have that installed, you wouldn't see anything. It would just be, oh yeah, you
The PBIX file.
congratulations.
Anything.
Right? So the only reason you see this again, so this file structure here isn't the same file structure as the pbip file format. It's similar, but it's not identical. So in a sense, this demo could be seen as a fail, but it could also be seen as a success as well.
So you've done an install of Git, and then you added your extension to be able to read the pbix after.
That's right. And that solution was open source, and the person that created that PBI tools is the guy that Microsoft said, hey, how about you help us with our PBIP? I need help with that. And so that Matthias Tierbach is the person, and you'll see a little bit more as we go on in the presentation about that. So at this point, let's say that was a fail in the sense of, hey, you can't see inside this PBIX file. So if you haven't installed PBI tools, which many of you won't, you want to go and set up. So let's see what is needed. It's not a lot. In fact, if you do this maybe 3 weeks from now, you won't have to do anything. It'll just be enabled. The default will be the PBIP format. So let's just have a look at our options and settings.
Are you suggesting like the pbix format as a default format for Power BI will probably be changing?
Yes, indeed. Yes, absolutely.
Wonderful.
The default of new solutions will be PBIP.
Cool.
Maybe we can talk about that at lunch.
In the scenario where somebody's already got a repository and you're a new guy, you have the person on the team and you say, you got to clone it first, right? That's the first step. You got to say, clone this locally and then work on it.
Absolutely. So in Azure DevOps, which is that enterprise capability, that enterprise solution that you buy into, when you go into the repo in the web browser, there's a little button saying, clone this, and it'll give you a link to paste into your tool, so you don't have to struggle to find it. So you paste it into your tool and it does the clone for you. Sometimes there's a direct link in there. So there's a few different options there, but yeah, you want to do a clone. You can do it on the command line too. It's just more steps, and authenticating means open a web browser and then so, but yeah, it's generally pretty easy to do. Yeah. So where were we? So we're looking at the settings of Power BI at this point. So today it is a preview feature, and let's just see if this is going to work. Control Shift F1. Does this? No, this isn't going to work. Let me just try here. Let's just see if this is going to mess everything up. Well, but here we go. Control Shift 1. There we go. Okay, so you can see in the middle of the screen, it says Power BI project.pbip, save option, and then underneath you have store semantic model using TIMDL, tabular model definition language. And then you have also store reports using enhanced metadata format, PBIR. So the PBIR happened about a year after the TIMDL happened. And so it's the piece that allows you to do diffs of the report. And the TIMDL is the piece that allows you to do diffs of the semantic model and your DAX measures. So I'm not sure when we'll see that disappear. My thoughts are it's going to be next month. If I'm a betting man, I'd say next month. Let's click on OK. After you selected that, you click on OK. It'll probably say, you need to stop and start Power BI, and then it's done. Oh, we have a question.
Yeah, it doesn't say it's in preview though.
Let me take you back there. The whole section, that whole options list, options on the left-hand side of the options screen. It always takes a moment to pull this up. On the left-hand side, you go down to the preview features. There you go. So some of these things you'll know have been in there forever. The shape map visual. And I've talked to the product team. I'm like, why don't you just kind of move that into production? They say, well, we've got partners that do some of that stuff. That's one. And we don't want to, ruin what partners have. Two, if we put that into production, we then have to support it. And if there's good free solutions out there, or it's been, better features have been added by something else, then they don't have to support this piece. So they'll keep it in until all the capabilities are somewhere else. However, there's some unique aspects of this people still like to use, so it's available for them. It's their way of managing the change, right? So yeah, some of these things will never be pulled off the list. Some of them will make it into the product eventually. PBIP, my understanding is they could not put this through further because other things needed to happen in the product in order to make this easier to implement. So it's like, you know, learning to dance, making sure things happen in a certain process. So anyway, so that is enabled now. Now what I have to do is I need to open my my puppies report. I could create a new one, but I'm just going to open my puppies report. And you'll notice when I do a file save as and browse this device, I now have the option save as type pbix, pbit for a template file, and pbip for a project file. And again, that has the TIMDL and the PBIR format to do the thing. So let's save that. And there we go. And this will be interesting. All right, so puppies, you can see it says PBI project at the top there. We can see the file name and the reports. You can see the puppies.report and puppies.semantic model are going to be created. And so that's saved. So I can close this at this point. It's a new piece of code. Go back to commit. Go back to Git and do a come on. Git status. Go. And of course it says, oh, you've got some files. And you can see it's got some folders as well, because when it saved the file, which is just the reference to the different folders and the contents. It's sort of like your pointer to everything else. That puppies.pbip is just the heck is happening there? My mouse. There we go. The puppies.pbip is that pointer to the other two folders, and it's your metadata that sort of drives things. You've got a git ignore as well. And the reason for that is there are certain files in here that are going to change. They're not going to help you to identify what's changing thing. It's just metadata backend stuff. And it just wants to help you not waste your time looking at those changes. So it ignores those file changes. So it's created that as well. Now, the thing is, how do I do the git add? There's hundreds of files. So that's where we do a git add hyphen capital A, I think. There we go. Okay, now let's do a git status and see. There we go. Now it said, okay, well, you could do a git restore and you can pull things back into your working tree and unstage it, but no, that's not what we want to do. We want to git slash commit slash message. And let's put first for pbip. Excellent. Great. So it's committed that. There's 935 files that were inserted there. And so what we want to do now is we want to do a push. So let's, again, instead of logging into GitHub on the command line, we're just going to do it through the app. We're going to push and we're going to pull. So those files, that's the only version. I can't compare the PBIP to the PBIX. It's not going to work, right? So I still need to go back and do one more change. So, you know, maybe I want to add some data, actually, because hey, if we want to see changes in a model, we actually have to have data items in our Power BI report in order to do that. We can't do that. We can't demonstrate it with pictures alone. So let's do that. So let's open Power BI with our puppies.pbip. And so we'll do a few things. We'll create a new page. We'll add a title. We'll pull in a data piece, right? Let's do that. So I'll let you know too, my design skills are way down here, way at the bottom. You know, I kind of get the modeling aspects of Power BI and you know, the DAX, I'm okay with DAX, but you know, obviously the design piece isn't for me. So this, you're not going to see best practices in design in this session at all. I'm going to create page 2. I'm going to double click and call this best. Oh, and I can't even type. I guess, best ever. And it's full of spelling mistakes. Absolutely. Let's do some get data. Let's get some data from web. And let's go to a website here. And I don't know, I'm going to pull some web.
Tell it to display your Git repository and see what it does.
Yeah.
But let's do this. Let's look at this. Spiders. Let's go to North America. There we go. Okay, there we go. I got a data table there. So let me grab this URL. Let's see. Go back to Power BI. Let's put this URL in there, and we'll pull some data in. We'll do this fast and free. There's not going to be any major transformations in here. I'm not going to rock the world. And come on. All right. Okay. If I remember correctly, it's table 2. Yeah, there we go. I could make this bigger, but we've got some organizations, we got some URLs, we got some countries. Let's just pull that in. Let's load it. Okay. I'm going to pull from the web, loading that, generating a semantic model for us in the back end. And you can see table 2 over here and columns 1 through 6. How appropriate. It didn't even identify the first one as the heading. Maybe I should have done some transformation. That's okay. That could be the next step. Let's also go here and because Scott's not that important, let's make him a little smaller. He's a little egotistical, right? Let's add a quick title, insert title, add an image. Pretty insert titles, text box, there we go. And it wants to fill it up and say, let's go here. It's been a while since I've used a text box. This is cool. And that's it. I've done that. I can do file save. And this is in the pbip format. Let's see what it's going to do. So we've done something. We haven't really done much that we can do a diff on in the model, but we've done some things with a diff in the report. So let's close this. I'm not sure that you have to close it now. They may have made it so it isn't so locky, isn't so handsy with your pbip files. But let's do this and do git status. So we've made some changes. It says, yeah, there's some things that changed. So let's do a git add /a. And then let's do a git commit /m. So first, and I'll put second. Oh, right, I can't use that capability in command line. I have to second for pbip. I can hit enter. Excellent. So it created, this is your commit. We're committing on main. B07AD01 is the name of this commit, or the commit ID to it. And now we can go to the GitHub desktop, and I can push to origin. Now again, I can use, at this point, I could use the GitHub desktop to do all this as well. But I started this way. Let's finish this way. Oh, in fact, let's go here and say view on GitHub. And there we go. Second for pbip, that's the commit message I have. There is the commit number. And if I click on that, it's going to show me what got me here. You can see on the right in green, that's all the things that have been added. You can see I changed the width of this visual. You can also see that there's a lot more lines in some of these and that you can expand them. This is a page. So the pages aren't the names of the pages. They're a GUID associated with that page name. So you can change names. But when you do things with your page and references to the page, it uses that GUID for the link. So it abstracts that, which makes a lot of sense. And then you can see down here, this is your Tyndall file. And you can notice, hey, this is text. My model name is model. My culture is ENCA for English Canadian. You can see PBI desktop version and stuff like that. You can see that I have a table reference called table 2 now, and you can see my table 2. You can see, where's the, there it is. Here's the M code that was generated when I used Power Query to get the data from the website. So you can see that that's all been added. So if in the future you make a change to your M code, you'll be able to see on the left your old version, and if you make and the new change on the right. So you can see as well the different sections where their colors are to indicate that there's a change to that file. What you can also do is you can see a little plus here. You can click on that and you can add a comment. You know, added this to do this, you know, and that'll store that in your commit attached to this graph, and people can search on that text and find out where that change was made. So some power there.
That seems a lot better than people doing like inline comments, dash, dash, blah, 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 big long story.
Absolutely.
It vanishes and gets, yeah.
Exactly, that vanishes, absolutely. Question, Jimmy?
So this comparison feature that's available only on GitHub, is that right?
Well, no, in fact, if you install like a Visual Studio Code, you can pull in extensions. There's a lot of free extensions, so you can do it with that. I can't remember, there's some Git extensions made by Microsoft. There's some made by companies like GitLens that have a premium feature. And then there's some that they're made by developers. They seem popular. Do you trust the developer? I don't know. You know.
In your demo, you are using 3 different applications so far, right? Like the Git is to interacting with your local directory.
Yeah, exactly.
And then GitHub Desktop for pushing, and GitHub, the website, for doing this comparison, right?
Yes.
Am I following this? Okay.
That's absolutely right. Yeah. And maybe you can do that comparison in the Git desktop. I just haven't explored it. I like the web UI, and the nice thing of that is if you're oh, do you have a question, or you just?
No, I was just gonna make a comment on it. I mean, like, you know, watching you actually write Git through command line interface makes me realize how happy I am that in Visual Studio I don't have to do any of that garbage. I've got a beautiful pane where I can just go and put in a comment and hit save, and it does all this stuff behind the scenes. And I mean, I guess what my hope is that if this really does become the standard, when you get an option to go and say, hey, like, I want to check my project into Git, my hope is that in Power BI Desktop, they would actually give you an interface so you don't have to go through the stuff.
So Rui Romano is the PM for the developer experience of Power BI. I suspect they're working on that today with Matthias Tierbach, but I don't know. Matthias has talked about when the PBI tools days, he said, I would want to create something like an add-in to Power BI, because you can choose partner things, that just sort of plugs in and works with Power BI. But now, since he's worked with Tyndall, maybe he's injected that desire to have that as, you know, first level experience built into that PBI experience. I'm not sure. You can reach out to Rui Romano and Matthias Tierbach and find out whether that's the direction. I suspect you might hear things in the near future as this product, as this PBIP format goes into GA. Let's see, where am I at here with my menu, my recipe? I think we've shown this. Might be, how much time do we have left, Ken? 10 minutes, 10-ish minutes, maybe.
I mean, ish.
Okay, so we could demonstrate, we can do one more change to the model. Do we want to do that, or do we want to just kind of, do you get the concept of the, yeah? Oh, Lisma, yes?
So in Power BI, the options were pbip, Tyndall, PBIR. Why give all these options? Why just give one? Like, why? You can choose, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's because the capabilities were added a year apart.
Okay.
And so they wanted to make it intentional that, you understand there's a new capability. They don't want to push new things onto people. They want to make it so that they're understanding this is a preview experience. Be cautious, be careful. You know, things could fall apart bad on you. But as I said, this feature has been feature complete for a while. They were just been waiting for other things to get pushed out the door for it to become GA. So yeah, it's a little confusing talking with customers about it and encouraging them to use this format. The response is, oh, but it's a preview feature. And, you know, understandably cautious when you see preview features. Apparently there's no real going back on this. The development community is like, hey, get this into production. We need this today. The big enterprise companies that have 20 people working on buy reports keep stepping on one of those feet. They want this out the door. And so, yeah, but good question. So, okay, we're gonna end this here and jump back into some of the slides for a moment. Oh, right, I do it up over here. Okay. And I'm not sure, Ken, are there any questions online?
Nope.
Maybe if you're online and you've got some questions, maybe you can put them in the queue and Ken can be my Vanna White and provide some questions.
I already made the offer, but there are no questions at this time.
Fantastic. Okay. All right. So let's get into this. And let's. All right. Desktop, push local repo to GitHub, publish up to GitHub. I think we've done that. Log into github.com with Scott Stauffer. Well, there's a nice little button in GitHub desktop that brings you to that commit, so you don't have to worry about that. Click on the hex commit link in the diffs. Remember how when we had the web UI of Git with that last commit, you had in the top, in the sort of middle right-hand side, you had that commit number. You click on that to see the diff. And again, if it was pbix, you wouldn't see any difference. You have to have that pbip. So again, this is Matthias Tierbach. This is the announcement that Microsoft put out initially about the public preview of TIMDL, tabular model definition. And this is just what he said. You know, the Power BI product team is grateful to Matthias for the work on TIMDL as part of the PBI contributors project. Matthias enhanced the TOM object model by adding TIMDL. Matthias worked tirelessly with the PBI architecture and engineering leads to design TIMDL specification and showed a great drive, creativity, and commitment to making TIMDL a reality. But the most important part, the community owes Matthias a debt of gratitude. I think so too. So I've already done demo 2 as part of demo 1. Our enabling of those capabilities was in the desktop. And then that was just my, hey, what do I need to demonstrate that? So you need to see that. But as a recap, what and why of version control, we talked about that. We talked about some concepts and commands for Git. We did a demo of Git and GitHub with Power BI PBIX file. We did the same with pbip. We talked briefly about TIMDL. You'll also know too, on the left-hand side, if you, how many people installed the Microsoft Store version of Power BI? Okay, there's 1, there's 2, there's 3, there's 4. How many do the MSI installer and update when they sort of feel it's necessary? So some people aren't aware their IT teams may have installed the MSI version, so their version never updates. If you install the Microsoft Store version, it's always updating. So if there's a bug one night, load it up the next morning, fire up Microsoft Store and see if there's an update for that. And likely that's the case. They fix the bugs really quickly. So you'll frequently get like 5 or 6 updates in a month because they're constantly updating, making sure they fix those bug fixes. But primarily the new features come out monthly. What it is and how it helps us. We did a demo, save as with diffs, and then we're down to recaps. But I'd also like to stop and say thank you to our sponsor, SkillWave. Thank you to Improving for having me here and supporting my initiative to share knowledge. Skillwave.training, Excel Guru, Monkey Tools, check them out. He's also got a good book called, what's the Monkey Tools book?
Master Your Data.
Master
Your Data in Excel and Power BI.
Master Your Data. But didn't one have a monkey?
Oh, you're looking for M is for Data Monkey? Yeah.
M is for Data Monkey.
M is for Data Monkey was the version 1. Master Your Data is the current version. Please use that. M is for Data Monkey is really cool, but the Data Monkey got upgraded for the second book.
Okay. All right.
Yes, he's now more robotic than ever.
All right. I have to buy something on Amazon now or just come to you with a
Come to me,
paycheck.
yeah.
Summer of Learning Special. I kind of like this. This is going to one of my clients that said, where can we learn about Power BI? And I don't really want to do courses myself. I'd rather just Ken. And I do actually like the coached version. So you get a bit of Ken's time on what is it, like you have with an instructor at a university, you'll have
Office hours.
hours. There we go.
Twice a month. Yeah.
There we go. And again, improving. They're a solution partner with Microsoft, and they're also partner with Snowflake, Confluence, SAP, and Databricks. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. Are there any questions?
There's one in the queue.
Okay.
Online. Benel has asked, is there any limit on the data sizes? For example, you have millions of rows of data being used in a data model in a pbix file. How tricky can that be using Git?
Okay. So when you're using the pbip, you're not going to have all that data go in there. The data isn't being looked at, and that's, I think, probably one of the main things that people are like, hey, we don't want to touch that one. We're just looking at the model definitions, so the metadata behind the data, and they're looking at the DAX functions, right? So those aren't going to be huge. If you've got a huge model, yeah, but they're not going to be billions of rows. So I think you're probably going to be okay there. You're not going to really see too much of a problem. So.
Yeah, I was just quickly doing a scan on Microsoft Learn.
Yeah.
That the git ignore actually has a reference to the local cache for the data. So that's actually just a pointer, leaves the data behind, I believe.
Yeah. So git ignore means don't commit this to our repo.
But it also has some metadata that you can't see diff on. It's in binary, remains in binary, but it points to local data cache.
Yeah. So that's good. You wouldn't want to put that up there. And if you do, that's okay too, because it's just a blob that you can't open up. Yeah. Any other questions in the room? No? Okay. It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much. If you have any other questions that you don't feel comfortable asking online, Scott, first name, last name on outlook.com. Feel free to send me a message, get LinkedIn. And yeah, that's it for me. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thanks, Scott. Thanks again to Joseph online. I don't know if he's online anymore, but for doing our what's new in this. Thanks all of you who came in person here. As we say, Scott's going to be doing this going forward, I think, for the Power BI segments of our stuff. So if you're interested in seeing what those user groups are, check out the Vancouver Power BI and Modern Excel user group online. We will be posting on who all the speakers are that are coming out for those. And then for the in-person, you need to also register through Scott's user group. We distribute the recordings of the material, let you know what's happening. Scott is the one that actually lets you in the door when you get here. So that's the important part there. And on that note, yeah, we'll wrap up for today. So thanks everyone for coming. I hope you enjoyed it and hope to see you again.